You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome back to my show of iWalter. I actually am doing it correctly this time. I have my new mics that I did set up today, and I got an amp that I'm using. I'm trying it on GarageBand. This mic setup actually does work much, much better on Audacity, but I'm trying it this time on GarageBand. I will continue probably to do that if possible, because I'm just used to using GarageBands now. But if I need to, Audacity would be the better way to go with this new setup. But these are my brand new mics that I got in the mail yesterday. I didn't have a chance to set them up. And also my new amp. And it does really work. Like, if I want to do an interview, I can do it precisely right and not lose any quality on the volume or either mic by just using this amp and using Audacity. It works perfectly fine. But for the now and the near future, I probably will just continue to be doing shows on my own. Just to give you a heads up, I really don't have that much in my mix tonight. I try to look for some things and I couldn't find much at all. But you know what? I wanted to mention this the other day and I couldn't find anything on it. So I did find it, and Rush mentioned it on Friday, which was just yesterday. See, today makes me feel, because I went home early yesterday, it makes me feel like today was Sunday. Technically, yeah, it is now. But I mean, Saturday felt like Sunday. Friday felt like Saturday. So I'm like really off on what day it feels like. Anyway, Rush did talk about this yesterday and our day before on Friday. And I wanted to really acknowledge what he had mentioned. And he was mentioning that, like, with the unemployment rate just being so ridiculously high and people not wanting to work. And then you got all these illegals that come in this country and just live in our country for free. And sponge off the government. And most of those are probably not even that. You got ISIS people, or the ISIL people, whatever you want to call them, that are also squeezing their way into our countries, not just United States, but other countries as well. And I think some people are realizing that now. They're not just refugees or illegal immigrants. They're actually terrorists as well. Anyway, he did mention yesterday, he said, during the Great Depression, the population was less than on unemployment, obviously, than it is today. But you know what the total number of unemployed people were during the Depression? 12.5 million. You're talking about the Great Depression, by the way. Today, the unemployment rate is 46 to 48 million unemployed. He said, I'm going to read what he wrote. The soup lines in the Great Depression and in the pictures, they do exist today, except they don't have to stand in line for soup kitchens, because he says, going with his quote, they get an EBT card, they get a debit card, and they go to redeem the debit card. So they don't have to stand in soup kitchen line, but it's the same premise. I got to send this to a friend, actually, too, because I think it's actually worth him reading. So just giving you a heads up on that. Send it to him now. The point of the story that he wrote was the government's done a great job of hiding the depression we are in now, but we're actually worse off in an economy than we were back then. He writes then, it was like the end of his transcript, 96 million Americans are not working, and there hasn't been any pushback against this. That's 5.1% unemployment rates, an outright lie, but it's higher than that, though. So, well, okay, he's basically saying that 5.1 would be would not be tolerated. So, what's the point? Why is pushback on Planned Parenthood? Or wait a minute. So what's the point on pushing the pushback on Planned Parenthood? You're wanting fighters. Where is it? The basic bottom line is this was a transcript there's more to it. There's a lot more to it. From October 9th, 2015, and it's titled, Republicans Have Another Golden Opportunity to realign with their voters. But it's not happening. They're too afraid to. The Republicans are too afraid to. That's the issue. And now you got like 90. He said actually the other day there's like 96 million Americans not working. So the percentage of people not working has increased incredibly. It has not gone down. It's actually gone up by probably from when I heard it just a few months ago, 2 more million people not working. And there's nothing being done about it. That's the major issue. What are we going to do about this? Well, obviously, absolutely nothing. And that's very upsetting to me. So, again, I don't have much in my mix because, I was yesterday at the Kevin Smith thing. My stories are very weak. Nothing that spectacular. Just letting you know now. I just wanted to try my new setup and give people, this might be like literally only a few minute show, but it's, letting people know. I'm still feeling my way around this new equipment, which I tried it earlier doing tests, mic stuff, and it worked fine. So my story is going to be very light, I guess. Yeah, this was pretty cool because it is Halloween. I wanted to make sure I do stories on Halloween stuff. And it was on Movie Pilot, and it looks like there might be a possibility that Michael Myers versus Jason Voorhees film is in the works. It says posted April 1st, 2015. That's a while back, though, but it just actually surfaced now. Yeah, they're saying that this might be a possibility, though. This actually could happen. So that was pretty cool. If it actually does, I guess. The only thing is, at least when they did Freddy versus Jason, Freddy Krueger actually talks. But neither one of those characters of Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, they're pretty much, the quiet ones. They don't say a word, so it's going to be kind of interesting if they actually do that. I would like to see it happen, but they say it is. But it'll be an awfully quiet film as far as them talking, because they don't. Anyway, thank you to Todd. He actually sent me to storypage6.com. It was posted October 9th, actually, so that actually is a few days old. But it was Mickey Rooney had an affair with teenage Elizabeth Taylor. Now, here's the thing. I mean, everybody knows Elizabeth Taylor, and most people should know who Mickey Rooney is. Well, he had this affair when she was 14 years old. So it was pretty funny that this just surfaced now. It says Mickey Rooney, the stage and screen legend who was married 8 times, had an affair with Elizabeth Taylor when she was 14, and he was married to his second spouse, according to the explosive new book. So it's in some book that just got released. The Life and Times of Mickey Rooney. So you can read it in there. It says out, I guess it's coming out on October 20th from Gallery Books. So if you want to read that. But that's pretty interesting. That was the biggest thing, I guess, they want to push is the fact that Mickey Rooney did have a sexual affair with a 14-year-old, Elizabeth Taylor at 14, that is. It said that who starred in Mickey Rooney's, Elizabeth Taylor, and with Mickey Rooney in a 1944 classic National Velvet, was just 14 at the time, and Rooney in his mid-20s. After that, all hell broke loose, I guess. Maybe it did come out, I don't know. Recalling that Betty Jane later got a top attorney and a big settlement, but she really was not happy after that. She wanted a faithful husband. So I guess that might have led to his divorce. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I obviously don't, because I'm always afraid I'm going to be screwing something up. I just thought that was kind of interesting. Again, you have to forgive me. I'm kind of like feeling my oats out with this new mic. You got to sit a little bit closer. I might actually end up using Audacity more so than... It's difficult to check my levels with, GarageBands. And I actually started out my shows using Audacity anyhow. It looks like I might be going back that direction. I'll see after I'm done recording my show tonight. But I am actually doing it correctly, and I'm using a headset as well, so I can actually listen in while I'm recording what I'm doing. But check out the story out. It's on NewYorkPost.com. Actually, it says NewYorkPost.com, but it's also Page6.com for those who are interested. I was hoping to make this into a story, but I really don't know how to. It was something on iHorror, and it says 10 Reasons Halloween is a kick-ass holiday. And it says, it's not really, it's just showing pictures of different movies and TV shows. The captions, without seeing the pictures, aren't going to make much sense. And my way of describing things is not always the best. But it just says costumes, Halloween specials, candy, horror movies, shopping for everyday decor. It becomes socially acceptable to scare children, and jack-o'-lanterns, haunted houses, parties was the last one, actually. But you'd have to, actually look at the pictures to make sense of what I just said, because there's humor behind it. Again, that's on iHeart, and it's titled 10 Reasons Halloween is a Kick-Ass Holiday, for those who are interested. This was pretty interesting. Again, I'm just drawing blanks tonight on stories to read, so I apologize about that. This was on one I found, chartattack.com. Someone just uploaded their complete collection of Kmart in-store background music. The Strange Time Capsule is from 1989 through 1993 via discount department store, Mithria, or whatever. So the guy actually there's a little a video that goes with this, and apparently he just decided the tapes are going to get chucked out, so over the years he basically just collected the tapes, with the static background noise you would hear in the store while you would shop in Kmart. So, it looks like a pretty cool article. Again, not much to read. You can actually listen to or watch the video, and he explains himself. It's only 10 minutes long, and that's on chartattack.com. I might next time actually hold the mic. There's a way. These are physical mics you would hold normally, but I'm actually have it on a little tripod, so it'd probably do better if I can not have to lean into it. My stories are very sparse tonight. There was some story on Daily UK Mail, and I'll probably just read the bullet points because I don't quite understand it. It says American scientist tracks down one of the world's rarest birds, then kills it for research. It's that doesn't make any sense. This guy, director of Pacific programs at the Museum of National History, found and killed a male mustached kingfisher last month. It's a bird, by the way. Dr. Flaherty choice to kill the bird has divided the scientist community over the mortality of killing an animal for research, considering it was a very endangered species. This gentleman argued that the bird is common in Solomon Islands where he found it, but other scientists say the bird is an endangered species, basically. It's a very cute-looking bird, too. It's rather big. Yeah, it's just weird. I normally, even on my weakest nights, I can always find plenty of stories to discuss. But for some reason, I that might be a good thing too. I don't know if I mentioned this last night. I think I did, but I'd actually have to recommend it again. Where I actually watched this movie. It was an old song, believe it or not, that was from. The song's based upon this movie called Eyes Without a Face. But I never knew it was a movie, though. I strictly remember it just being a song from Billy Idol. And, the movie was actually on last night. And it was quite disturbing. Again, if I did mention it, you're probably going to be hearing the same thing again. But the movie actually really was ahead of its time. I think a lot of people have taken cues from this film, and a lot of the horror films we watch nowadays are probably based upon the stuff they did in this film, because it was quite the movie, quite disturbing, to say the least. Basically, what I remember I'll go from my perspective. I can look it up and try to read it, but it'd probably be best if I just explained what I turned on the film and didn't bother to watch. I was too busy getting show prep for doing last night's show. And then it was just really just dragged me in to watch. And it felt like, this is so intriguing. I need to watch this movie. So it started out, basically, I don't remember the beginning because, again, I was prepping for the show. And the premise was it was a doctor, a surgeon, and I think it looked like it was French, but I could be wrong, because I thought when I read a couple of the subtitles, I thought they said it was Swedish, but it looked like, by the dialect I was hearing in the background, it sounded more French. Anyway, it was about this doctor who apparently his daughter somehow had literally no face. It was just basically some flesh and mostly like a skeleton. It was mostly bone. And she would wear this mask that looked like porcelain because it was a black and white film. It's an old movie. Now I might just have to kind of look into it a little bit. Let's see. Let me get a page open. But yeah. But it was actually kind of like a rubber mask, but it just fit on like glasses on her face, and it covered the whole thing. So let me look this up. Okay, I'm looking it up now. It's pretty highly rated too. It is if you have Netflix, which I do, you can actually check it out, but I'm just giving you word of warning that it is very disturbing, this film. It is considered a horror movie, drama horror, it says. A brilliant surgeon, Dr. Janesser, I don't know how to say it, honestly. This is one I just have to admit to even more so. Helped by his assistant, Louise, kidnaps nice young women, and he removes their faces to try to graft them onto the head of his beloved daughter, Christine. I think it's Christine or whatever, whose face has been entirely spoiled in a car crash. Okay, so that's what I was looking for. I wasn't quite sure what happened. All the experiments fail and the victims die. So, I didn't know what to expect. It is a very, very disturbing film. but it's really well put together. Again, you could actually stream it. If you probably get it for free. Also, I think because it is a classic film. Also on Amazon Prime. I know for a fact I have it bookmarked on one or the other. I think it's actually on Netflix. But yeah, it's just very disturbing because it reminds you of like these like Hannibal Lecter before they even existed kind of films. I'm wondering even when they wrote those novels if that's what these characters were based upon from this movie, because this movie came out in 1960, so it's way before like horror really had grasped what we know in our last few decades. So yeah, and it says "Eyes Without a Face" was a song by Billy Idol as well, but it's based upon the film, obviously. And actually, I didn't know this. Now, this is news to me. It is in the Criterion Collection, so that says a lot. Which looks like, yeah, if you want to buy it on Blu-ray, it's $31.96. If you want to buy it on DVD, it's $23.96 from the Criterion Collection. Yeah, the first few victims, basically, they just grafted their face, trying to put pieces of skin on the daughter's face. When that did not work and it rejected it, he also experimented with these poor dogs, too, and he tortured the dogs. My assumption was what I missed. I am going to definitely buy this movie, I think, because it's really good. Actually, it says France, 1960, so I was correct on that. It is for a French movie. I don't know why, but I thought I saw that it might have been a different nationality. But yeah, I mean, out of all this is the first time that in many years that I saw a foreign film that really caught my attention. And I have to say, this is definitely one of them that I recommend. I'm looking it up now on Amazon to see, because the prices are usually pretty good. It definitely made an impact on me. Yeah, the prices are pretty much the same. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but on that fact, but I can't say enough about it, I'll tell you that much. Actually, I think it is a little cheaper. Yeah, you can buy it on Amazon Prime on the Blu-ray for like $24. And I mean, yeah, I was going through Ingmar Bergman films because of the symbolism in the films. Some woman at college years ago highly recommended that film. And it's been a long time since I've seen any films that kind of intrigued me as much as this. And I will say this is definitely one film you have to watch at least once. Actually looking on eBay, because you never know. Sometimes you can actually get them cheaper on eBay. But yeah, it's just that's another thing about this film. I'll have to say it definitely does have symbolism in there too. It does not leave that part out. And the symbolism at the very end of the movie is very intense, I thought. It's like Kevin Smith said last night, hey, if you haven't seen it, I'm saying anything, and these are spoilers to you, then, hey, these movies are like, that movie's like what? 1960, it's like 50 years old. If you haven't seen it by now, that's your loss, not mine. So, that being said, wow, they have it on $20, $21 from deep discount on eBay. That's not too bad. Might actually get it. Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to see what it looks like new. Well, you're not saving that much. You're actually paying the same amount of money used as buying it new. So, yeah, the very end though, he he obviously was torturing the dogs. I think he fed his the girls that didn't survive, having their faces removed to save his daughter. He fed the remains to like these dogs that he basically tortured as well. This scientist or this surgeon in the movie of Eyes Without a Face. So, yeah, what was I going to say? The daughter, I guess, at first went with it, but when she finally got, I guess, more, I guess, I don't know how else to put it, like her morals actually set in. It's like, wait, you're killing all these women to help save me or, give me a new life with a new face. And obviously it's not working. You're just killing these girls. And I might have mentioned this yesterday. For some reason, they had, I don't know why, because you're not taking their eyes, you're taking their face. But he always took women with blonde, I thought it was like blonde hair and blue eyes. Why, I don't know. It had nothing to do. Maybe it was something, but that I thought that's what part of the premise was. I actually just ordered it because I definitely want to see this. And actually probably watch more than once. Another movie I actually would suggest, because I said this the other day, would be The Hunger. That's another classic film. And that actually has in that film, let me look. Yeah, here it is. I think that might even be in the mix of, maybe not. I thought that might have been I thought that was a Criterion movie too. David Bowie, Susan Sarandon was in that movie, believe it or not, and Catherine Duvall. But that's another movie that's just really good. Yeah, it's a classic film. But I thought that was on the line of being again, I think it is. Maybe it's just not being shown on. But that American Horror Story kind of reminded me of that. But, yeah, the thing about Eyes Without a Face, though, I might even just use that again. Again, was the symbolism at the end, was very well executed. What she does, though, is she kills the mother and stabs the mother in the throat, basically. Kills the father, and basically she sets the dogs free, which in some ways there was symbolism there as well, because and there was a cage, which that was there for just purely for symbolism. There was these birds, a bunch of birds in this cage. And they, the whole symbolism behind that, though, when you see birds in a cage, is that she herself was a prisoner, and so were those dogs, and they were all being experimented on. Like, to her father, he thought he was doing something to help her, basically start a new life, but he was more interested in, I guess, the whole experimentation was the gist. So she herself was just as much a guinea pig as these dogs were, because he was experimenting on the dogs too, with their skin graft and the dogs, hoping to save the daughter, bring back her skin, replace the skin on her face, and the birds, obviously being in a cage, was not much different than she was. She was a prisoner, of the house she lived in, because she couldn't go anywhere. She, people would be too frightened of her. So she killed both her parent, and I thought it was her mother. I guess when I read that little thing, I guess it was an assistant who assisted the doctor, this girl's father, with that. And, yeah, it's very emotional too, as well as being very disturbing. But she kills the assistant then, and then the father, and then she lets all the dogs out free. And ironically, the dogs he gets poetic justice. The dogs get their vengeance on the master, who was this girl's father, because he basically tortured these poor dogs. So the dogs actually eat his face off, which is the irony, I guess, in the film because this girl had no face. And also, the thing was, she lets the birds out of the cage, and they were like doves. So I guess white symbolizes purity, which could have meant her too, because she was basically she was trapped from her situation of getting a car accident. Now, if you think about it, if you ever read the play of August Strindberg in the Ghost Sonata, there's a lot of close similarities in that where there's a character in the Ghost Sonata by Strindberg where the character is actually trapped. It's called the Hyacinth Girl. So she was almost like the Hyacinth Girl, and the symbolism there was these hyacinth plants. But in this one of Eyes Without a Face, the symbolism is with the doves in the that's pure symbolism anyway, by the way, in the cage. And she lets the doves out. She lets them free at the end, and they fly away. Some of them actually, at least one of the doves land on her. So I don't know if that probably was more likely an accident, but that actually worked very well because when she leaves the home, her home, the doves on her. So not only did she let the doves fly free or let them free out of their cage, but she left with one, the doves actually flew around her as she was leaving. So that's like, you can't make it any more clearly. But in a movie, that's considered very powerful symbolism, in my opinion. And again, the whole film was very well executed. I'm just kind of curious what Rotten Tomatoes give that now. Let me look, because I'd be surprised if it was any lower. Okay, I'm doing that right now to see. Oh, actually, here you go. This is just speculation, I guess, on my part. But Rotten Tomatoes gave Eyes Without a Face, a 1962 film. I thought I read somewhere it was 1960. It's not really that much of a big issue. The tomato meter is at 98%. Average ratings 8.4 out of 10. Reviews count at 51. Fresh 50%. Rotten 1%. Audience that liked it was 87%, but the tomato meter is at 98%. You can't get much better than that. It's only an hour and 24 minutes. But like I said, I really hesitated to watch that film. I had that thing bookmarked for the longest time, this film. And now I finally watched it and was like, why did I wait so long even to watch the little bit I watched last night? And I could have watched the entire thing. I think I would have still end up buying it either way because it's just, it's a very intense film, to say the least. It's one I recommend. That would definitely be on the kind of movies I would put up there with movies that just really moved me. So even like the Ingmar Bergman films, this is on the top of that list. This does not go with my, horror films. This goes on a different type of level. It is a horror film, don't get me wrong. But, obviously I can't say enough about it either because it's just that good. So, folks, I'm trying to, like I said, I'm going to stick at least for this month. Obviously longer, because I just love reading about horror movies. But, what was I going to say? Because there's going to be a lot of horror movies the next couple of months as well. It seems like horror movies aren't going to die just after October. They're going to continue on all the way into the end of this year, at least, if not longer. So, I'm just trying to poke through some other stories I could possibly find. Nothing that really strikes me that I need to read. But I was going to say, actually, I'm going to see what's on TV tonight if I'm up a little bit late. There's a bunch of horror movies I bought that I never really watched. I mean, these are horror movies I probably downloaded at one point illegally, but now I bought them on a different stance that makes them, more that I'm not going to get myself in trouble, to say the least. And, that being said, I would like to watch some of them, because I got some B horror movies, like when I grew up as a kid, that came out. They weren't classic movies. These are just movies that were just around when I was a kid. And it was like I wasn't allowed to see them, which most of the time my parents, any horror movie I wanted to go to, my mom was right there with me to say, yeah, you can go see that. Even if my dad didn't appreciate it, my mother wasn't there. My mother would side with me, I guess. So that's good and bad. Most of the time, it's probably just plain bad. It probably would be better if I didn't see all those horror movies as a kid. But most of them are really campy, too, the ones I grew up with. Here, I gotta just type back. Yeah, so I'd like to watch a couple of those tonight. It's funny, Kevin Smith posted something on his thing, and he's become such a celebrity whore. I mean, the guy's really cool, but he was just like a nobody, and he actually definitely won the lottery, because he's in a picture with Bruce Campbell, and I guess it might be even Sam Raimi. I don't know. But, yeah, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. I thought it was Sam Raimi. But that man has truly won the lottery in every sense of the word. And, I mean, that's why I think people like him, because he was just a guy who worked at an average, at a mini mart, of all things. Like, that's like the most dead-end job you can fucking find. And the man ends up on top and finds himself, talking and smoozing with celebrities. I know one friend doesn't think his wife is that hot looking, but for him, it's way out of his league. He obviously understands that too, and he's living the very good life. It's not even just a little bit. He's living the very, very good life, and that's more than I can say that I'll ever have. I mean, I might be one of these people that I hope I'm not, but I saw that yesterday when I was down in Philly, where I parked my car, where there's people sleeping in boxes, homeless people. That's the direction I see myself going in. Kevin Smith could have been one of those people, but like I said, he won the lottery, and he's living the very good life now. I mean, you don't get any better than that. That man is definitely living on top of the world. So I wish I could be as lucky as that man has been. But yeah, fortunately, he's obviously got, he was dealt a good deck of cards, whatever you want to call it, something I'll never have. Right now I'm just fighting to keep a job. So, yeah, I just want to try to post some jokes stuff up to a friend. But, yeah, there's not much more for me to talk about. It was funny. There was this movie on tonight. I had the guy who played the professor on Gilligan's Island. It was his old movie on Senguli, and it was called It Came from Outer Space, some 1953, B horror movie. That was the highlight of my night. But I want to actually watch my own pick of B horror movies as well. So hopefully tomorrow I can come up with a little bit more to talk about, because quite honestly, I'm just, coasting tonight through my show. I was just really pleased to be able to get this stuff working. Unfortunately, though, I still have this issue of which program, because now I can actually use go back on Audacity, whatever. But yeah, this whole mic setup and everything, I would definitely recommend it if you want to become truly a person who wants to have like a friend work with you on the shows. I wish I could do that. Or because it works better. Like I noticed with Kevin Smith, he can react to his partner on his blogcast when he does them once a week, or they can go vice versa. I have no one. So, and it's very difficult because I set and do everything on my own. I don't have anybody to kind of help me correct things. But if I want to, but yeah, if you want to, just shoot me a line and I'll just send you the link. I'm gonna actually look for the picture, maybe that I had taken. I snapped a shot to show a friend what my setup consisted of, and I might even use that as my background thing tonight as well. Hey, by the way, I'm looking at some texts I sent a friend, and what was I going to tell you? I was in Target today because I'm looking for that Pepsi bottle, and they had these Darth Vader helmets. They're just for Halloween that look so incredible that I'm actually going to post the pictures that I sent to a friend. I'm sorry, I'm going to start over again. But yeah, there's this helmet of Darth Vader. I'm going to put the pictures up, by the way, on my little thing tonight as well. But this helmet looks so like realistic because you got to remember when they first did Star Wars, most of that stuff was probably cheap. I mean, it was done on film. Don't get me wrong, but you get an automatic. We like to call it in the gamer world anti-aliasing, and you definitely get that with with some older films. You get that nice blurred out effect. And that being said, with like Star Wars and stuff, you kind of did have that, especially when they even put it on cable. So you really couldn't tell how cheaply made, this was true about old TV shows as well. You couldn't tell how cheaply made the costumes were. But they had a whole crap load of them. They had at least 12 of these Darth Vader helmets. I guess somebody took one off to try it on. And I tell you, the way it's designed, even though it's made pretty cheap, it's like $30. But the way they're made, though, these helmets, they're actually designed like the real one. I mean, it's not too far from being the one they probably used in the original films, which it was supposed to look metal, but trust me, it was probably plastic anyway. Obviously some parts looked more plastic than others on Darth Vader's costume. The actor who played Darth Vader in the movies, but these looked exactly alike. And they're like $30 at Target. But the thing was, it's like the helmet part does come off, I guess. It might have a Velcro strap. You can just put the whole thing over your head, though. But the way it comes apart is identical to the real one. The way like it separates the front part of the mask from the back. In my opinion, it's the same exact way it did it in the movies. So I was like, wow, for $30, you get all that. So yeah, that was very impressive. I actually am tempted to buy it, but like, that's going to be another dust collector. Trust me. Where am I going to freaking wear a Darth Vader mask? I mean, it is really cool for $30. Trust me. Probably before the end of the holidays, maybe I will get one. Who knows? But when I looked at it, it's like this thing has easily got to cost a couple $100. When I saw the price tag being $30, it's like, you got to be fucking kidding. That's incredible. That is a really good price. So, I'm sorry. I keep on pushing away from the mic. Anyway, folks, I'm going to let you go for this morning, I should say, on this Sunday morning. And hope you enjoy my show. I heard myself through my amp, but I really did not hear myself on what the final product's going to sound like. So I'm hoping it sounds okay. everyone, have a good Sunday morning. And I shouldn't mention this, but hopefully you're not one of the people that will go out and buy a ticket to the Friday the 13th event in Jersey where they shot the first film, because me and a friend want to get a ticket. And it is a limited per person to only 2 people can buy tickets. Like, you can only buy a total of 2 tickets because they know, and even with that limit, it's going to sell out in like less than 8 minutes. So, actually, yeah, I do want to discourage you because I want to buy the freaking tickets. So anyway, hey, have a good morning on this Sunday, Sunday the 11th of October 2015. It's just hard to believe there's only 2 more months after this left of this year. I tell you, as you get older, it's so true. The time just seems to speed up. Seems like when you get older, the momentum of time just speeds up way too quickly, and I just don't understand why. But when you're a kid, it seems like summers would last forever. You couldn't wait till they end. And now it's like, can you slow down just a bit? You're going from 15 miles an hour as a kid with like time to like 200 miles an hour as an adult. That's what it feels like. But hey, have a good morning. I hope you enjoyed my show, and I am signing off at this point in time. Thanks a lot for listening to me. This is Walter from the iWalter Show, and please listen to me again. Thanks. Have a good one.